Hello, everybody. Please have a seat. Welcome to the White House. I am going to be brief because on a night like tonight, my job is to get out of the way and let the professionals do their job. I do want to start by thanking our extraordinary performers for taking time out of their busy schedules to be with us. I also want to recognize the President's Committee on the Arts and the Humanities for putting on this event and for everything they do to support the arts. You know, the power of poetry is that everybody experiences it differently. There are no rules for what makes a great poem. Understanding it isn't just about metaphor or meter. Instead, a great poem is one that resonates with us, that challenges us, and that teaches us something about ourselves and the world that we live in. As Rita Dove says, if poetry doesn't affect you on some level that cannot be explained in words, then the poem hasn't done its job. Also known as, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. That's a little ad lib there. For thousands of years, people have been drawn to poetry in a very personal way, including me. In the spirit of full disclosure, I actually submitted a couple of poems to my college literary magazine, and you'll be pleased to know that I will not be reading them tonight. But as a nation built on freedom of expression, poets have always played an important role in telling our American story. It was after the bombing of Fort McHenry during the War of 1812 that a young lawyer named Francis Scott Key penned the poem that would become our national anthem. The Statue of Liberty has always welcomed the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Soldiers going off to fight in World War II were given books of poetry for comfort and inspiration. And whenever our nation has faced a great tragedy, whether it was the loss of a civil rights leader, the crew of a space shuttle, or the thousands of Americans that were lost on a clear September day, we've turned to poetry when we can't find quite the right words to express what we're feeling. So tonight we continue that tradition by hearing from some of our greatest, as well as some of our newest poets. Billy Collins, who is here with us, calls poetry the oldest form of travel writing because it takes us to places we can only imagine. So in that spirit, I'd like everyone to sit back or sit on the edge of your seats and enjoy the journey. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Youssef Biaz, and for the past 2 years I've been involved in the national poetry recitation contest called Poetry Out Loud, sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. And tonight I'll be reciting a poem written by Sharon called Mrs. Krikorian. And it's Sharon Olds' way of honoring a wonderful teacher she must have had in 6th grade. And it seems that she wasn't very well behaved in 6th grade. And to be honest, neither was I. And the poem really spoke to me, and it was the first poem that piqued my interest in participating in the competition. So here it is. Mrs. Krikorian by Sharon Olds. She saved me. When I arrived in 6th grade, a known criminal, the new teacher asked me to stay after school the first day. She said, "I've heard about you." She was a tall woman with a deep crevice between her breasts and a large, calm nose. She said, "This is a special library pass. As soon as you finish your hour's work," that hour's work that took 10 minutes, and then the devil glanced into the room and found me empty. a house standing open. You can go to the library. Every hour, I'd zip through the work in a dash and slip out of my seat as if out of God's side and sail down to the library, solo through the empty, powerful halls, flash my pass, and stroll over to the dictionary to look up the most interesting word I knew: spank. Dipping 2 fingers into the jar of library paste to suck that tart mucilage as I came to the page with the cocker spaniel silks curling up like the fine steam of the body. After spank and breast, I'd move on to Abe Lincoln and Helen Keller, safe in their goodness till the bell. Thanks to Mrs. Krikorian, amiable giantess with the kind eyes. When she asked me to write a play and direct it, and it was a flop, and I hid in the coat closet, she brought me a candy cane. As you lay a peppermint on the tongue, and the worm will come up out of the bowel to get it. And so I was emptied of Lucifer and filled with school glue and Eros and Amelia Earhart, saved by Mrs. Krikorian. And who had saved Mrs. Krikorian? When the Turks came across Armenia, who slid her into the belly of a quilt? Who locked her in a chest? Who mailed her to America? And that one who saved her, and that one who saved her, to save the one who saved Mrs. Krikorian, who was standing there on the sill of 6th grade, a wide-hipped angel, smoky hair standing up weightless all around her head. I end up owing my soul to so many. To the Armenian nation. One more soul someone jammed behind a stove, drove deep into a crack in a wall, shoved under a bed. I would wake up in the morning under my bed, not knowing how I had got there, and lie in the dusk, the dust balls beside my face round and ashen, shining slightly with the eerie comfort of what is neither good nor evil. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, what a spectacular evening. I want to make sure that all of you have a chance to give one more big round of applause to Jill Scott, Steve Martin and the Steep Canyon Rangers, Amy Mann, Allison Knowles, Kenny Goldsmith, Rita Dove, Common, Billy Collins, Youssef Biaz, and Moira Bass. Give them all a big round of applause. That's the power of poetry.